Let me introduce my guest to this week. It's Irregular Warfare.
Yes, hello.
So glad to have you here. It is strange how
Thank you.
we
It's an
are,
honor.
only recording on your channel function.
Yeah, I was gonna mention
but
that.
yeah, I didn't really think that one through. I suppose I just see everyone with me as my guest.
Yeah,
Because
that's
I'm
good.
such a good host.
Good philosophy. So I'm
Yeah,
I'm curious
problematic, maybe, but
about
good.
what your experience of all this is. You have
You know,
you have your friend, your mate, call you up. He has this crazy idea. What's the idea? Give me the full rundown.
well, I do think my roommate is crazy, but that is constantly remedied by the cool games that he plays. And
Oh,
I've seen Thumper before, and I'm genuinely interested in seeing you play it. It looks so unapologetically itself and very hype.
yeah, we're always looking for
That
that.
I'm excited. I'm going into this with no knowledge or experience with viewing gameplay from Thumper. So
Well, let me just kind of get right into it. Thumper is a game that I picked up really cheap on the Steam summer sale. It has a very interesting premise. I've had my eye on it for a very long time, and it features a rather unusual design. So as you could see, you start off the game in this kind of ethereal space with a track, right? And we're
huh.
met with this giant triangle. We go into the triangle, and if you notice the
I see a
character at the
scarab.
bottom, yeah, it's a little beetle.
I'm already very attached to Beetle Bro.
Yeah, so Beetle Bro is great. Beetle Bro needs to jump
Look
over
out for those
things.
walls. Okay.
And when Beetle Bro
I see
does
you're
jump over
raising your
things,
wings.
good things happen to Beetle Bro. And the thing
Yo!
is, we're fighting this triangle, right? Triangles.
Wow. Have you ever beat a triangle before?
Nah,
I haven't.
I mean, I haven't beaten a lot of this game. I played the first game, the first level, and I was just like, there's some shit going on here. I need to figure this out. And
Yeah, I'm looking
I,
at this triangle. It's getting more intimidating by the second.
yep,
It has a mouse.
and now there's
It
a circle.
shoots tentacles at you. Usually, when things attack you with tentacles. Oh my gosh! You beat the triangle.
Yeah, I got the triangle all done. Now I'm on the
All
circle.
right. Oh boy.
So,
Yeah. If they can just yeet tentacles at you, that's not something a lot of animals can do,
oh yeah,
unless geometric objects.
we gotta eat these spiders straight to the moon. That's,
Yeet these spiders right
oh,
to the moon.
I fucked up. So we're gonna fuck up a lot because I'm trying to do commentary and play a very difficult rhythm game.
Sure. That's why I'm here. I'm
Yeah.
here to provide structure and responds to things that you do 12 seconds after you do them.
Excellent,
Or whatever the
excellent.
frame delay is. Because I, like our audience, are watching this at a slight delay, but I, unlike our audience, am on Discord with you.
Yep. So
Sorry,
I started
on an
asking.
unnamed speech app that will
That's
relay our
right.
voices, because I'm too mercenary to say.
Exactly. So I started doing some research on, like, why is the main character a scarab? It's very rare that a video game makes you play as a scarab in, as your main character. So
Yeah,
I
it's
did some
certainly
research
unique.
into scarab iconography, where it shows up, where it's used, and it turns out it's 1500 BC Egypt. A surprise to no one who has seen the Mummy movies.
Sure, yeah, I remember all the scarabs and that.
Oh yeah,
It was better CGI in my memory than it was in the movie.
I agree. So yeah, so we're going through all these triangles as a scarab, right?
Yo,
What's triangles in
yeah.
Egypt?
I mean,
Got any
you see
famous
'em- you see
triangles?
they got some big famous triangles that
Yeah, they
love
love those
showing
triangles,
off.
don't they? They kept making them
Yeah,
bigger and bigger
there's
ones.
several.
So I started asking some questions like, what's happening here? What's happening in this game? Why are these triangles attacking me? Why am I a scarab going through these triangles? The triangles appear to have mouths. And then I
Most
started doing some
triangles that I
research.
come across don't have mouths.
Yeah, on
That's why I'm so surprised about these triangles.
on some sacred funerary rites that involve scarabs.
Funerary, like
Funeral.
same base word as funeral.
Exactly.
Yeah. Huh.
Exactly.
So it's kind of death iconography.
Yeah, you could say that. So, oh shit, I almost died. As
I'm
we
looking
said
forward
that.
to seeing that in a bit.
Yep.
Oh my gosh. Yikes. Yeah. This
So
this
yeah,
game looks very difficult is the thing.
it is. It's really hard, especially to do commentary over.
Yeah, I see you apparently getting more like armor sometimes. Is that a thing?
Yep, you get some health back, and you go over certain jumps, special jumps.
Sure, sure. I love me some special jumps.
But yeah, one of the things people might not know about scarabs is they're used in death rituals for Egypt from the period of like 1500 BC to 1069 BC. It's known as the New Kingdom period. And they are supposed to protect you in the afterlife by doing all of your death interviews for you with the gods. Because when you die in ancient Egypt, you have to go straight to the gods, like, test, basically. You know, a lot of people
Like
know
right
that
there,
from...
you don't get some study time.
No, I mean, the study time is your whole life, and then they judge you based
Sure.
on, you know, how you answer. And a lot of people are aware of, like, Anubis and, you know, Set and the trial. But even earlier than that, there's this idea of having to do an interview with the gods that's very, very precise and specific, and having to do it exactly perfectly. You know.
So how do you get a scarab to do this for you? Do you just have a pet scarab, or
Well,
are
you can
they
buy
just,
one right
like,
before you die, or rather,
Oh,
you
of
get
course.
one of your friends to buy you one.
Why didn't I expect money to come into this like
Yeah,
right away?
it's
Yeah, I'm sure some scarab
it's hard to
salesmen
get the
have heard,
right
like,
scarabs, you know.
I've got a great idea.
Oh yeah.
Sure. I mean, are they good at taking the test?
Oh yeah. You
Yeah?
basically get the priest to read you everything that you're supposed to say to the gods, because you fucking can't read because you're a stupid,
Yeah,
dumb
I'm
peasant.
just a peon. Yeah.
Yeah, you're a peasant.
Like, I spent a lot of time dragging rocks and making shoes.
Exactly.
I don't know anything about death interviews.
And also, why do it yourself when you can pay someone else to do it for you? Especially a scarab.
Oh yeah.
You know, the scarab knows what's
I
up.
love- Yeah, I mean, I trust scarabs so much right now. I've heard they're very good at death
Yep.
interview. We got that one switched up there. I mean, these colors are great. Like,
Yeah.
I
You can use those for Warframe palettes.
oh my gosh, absolutely. I've been playing a lot of Warframe recently, and color palettes are constantly in my mind because fashion is the real endgame.
Yep.
And there's a lot of very, like, the resurgence in use of neon is
Beautiful.
just wonderful joy that I'm finding, and I'm glad that I'm living through it. But
yeah.
I don't want to distract from the iconography. I was wondering before.
Yeah, it's
you
definitely part of it.
mentioned-
I mean, the colors are
Oh sure,
very
really.
yeah, like 80s, you know, running on a light track
Absolutely.
through, you know,
Got
psychedelic.
that impression. So, in death rituals, like, is a death ritual similar to what I'd imagine as a funeral? Like, are funerals modern death rituals?
Yeah, I mean, kind of. They're a little different. The
Sure.
Each
I'd imagine
ancient
they're different
Egyptian
for every culture.
idea of it is very specific and very realistic. It's like whatever you take with you is literally what you take with you in life. So, you know, they would get the scarab to do the interview. Then they would kill the scarab to put it on your level. Then mummify it so it would stay with you. And they'd put it in your ear so that the scarab would tell you all of the right answers.
Okay. So really,
you could hear them.
You have this great cheat sheet.
Yeah.
So it's not even like a genuine like, oh, and I see you have your lawyer here.
Nope.
Of
Nope.
course, your lawyer Scarab.
Yeah.
You're just cheating death, literally. You're cheating the death test.
Exactly. I mean,
I mean, they must have felt pretty clever. Like
and
and
here's
they're like, oh man, we don't have cool water bottles that we can write the answers on. We don't. Shoot. Do we have cool like snapbacks that we can write all the?
Yeah.
Nope.
Not allowed to take anything with you.
Right there in your ear canal. Jonathan, don't worry. You're dying. I'm gonna yeet this beetle right into your ear. You are good.
Oh shit. Yep. This is the boss.
Gosh.
This is very, very difficult.
Oh, it's an actual face. This is the first time I've seen a face in this game.
Exactly. So this is, obviously
It looks angry with you.
one of the more pissed off examples. Oh, I lost.
Sure.
Oh,
jeez.
Rough. Yeah, so level 1.
Oh my gosh.
Omega is the name of the level that I'm on.
Yeah.
It's the mega because it's the end. It's the last letter in the Greek alphabet. They seem to be blending like Egyptian and Greek.
That's powerful. Okay. So are there other aspects of the game that you said they're blending that Egyptian Greek skis? Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Almost died on that same part.
I mean, the coloring on the skull kind of reminds me of Dia de la Muerte. Seems to be vaguely Aztec or Central American influenced.
There seems to be a lot of influence in this game. Most of it influenced by tentacles, if I'm identifying all of these tentacles.
Yep. And death as a concept. Okay, I won.
I mean,
throughout the ages. Yeah. It's kind of a cross-cultural meditation on.
You did that spider to the moon.
All the way to the moon. Ooh.
All the way to the moon.
So yeah, that's the first level. I have not done the second level.
First level.
Yeah, I've not done the second level yet. There's a bunch of tricks that they teach you, like good rhythm games often do.
Yeah, it is they teach you as you play. That makes
so we'll see how this one goes. But yeah, it's your little scarab buddy is facing off against. Oh shit.
Yikes.
Oh, you fly a little bit. That's cute. Oh shit. I guess you have to press A.
I like the animation of the wings.
Yep.
That's a good look.
It's gorgeous.
Anim0421 says you got farther than last time.
Oh yeah. Do eyes ever hurt from the colors? Sometimes. Sometimes. It's a lot of colors. It's always doing it.
It's a lot of colors.
Yeah, life is just made of all these colors. Okay, so that one was successful. We did that one.
Nice.
Apparently I can fly. I'm a little scared boy.
A little scared boy. I need to deal with all these colors coming at me. And I'm doing an okay job.
Yeah, it's doing okay.
Do you have to go through those loops?
I think you have to be flying when those loops happen to you.
Huh, okay. Cool. I'm sure if there's a curve and you go off the track, I'm sure if you're flying when you hit a curve, that is problematic.
Yeah. Oof. This is getting pretty intense. Oh wow, that's rough.
Gosh. This looks rough. I mean, the exposure that I got from the game before I saw this was that it was hard. It was probably its most defining feature that I've seen, marketed, and it always dissuaded me from trying it because I've I've never been one for rhythm games, except of course for DJ Hero.
Of course.
Um, and these reaction-based games have I've always seen them and felt I would like to be good at that, but the time spent to be good at it would be not quite as fun for me, and that dissuades me from doing it. So I'm really glad that I can watch you do it, because
Oh yeah.
it looks dang good is the thing. They seem to have a nice variation in what actually comes at you without sacrificing the core elements that make the gameplay important, like the walls, the jumps, the ducks, the beats.
The music that's created from it is gorgeous.
Due to my streaming setup, I can't hear the music, which is probably my biggest regret here. I'm gonna mute myself and listen for just a moment. Yo, that's good.
Yeah, man.
I'm into it. So when you hit a wall, what are you doing with your controls in order to succeed at that?
Oh, I just lost. Well, you have to press A and then a direction to like jump slide, like in Mario Kart.
Oh, okay, sure. I really like the initial D lines you get from from the drifting.
Drift King.
Drift King. Do you know what DK stands for?
Donkey Kong.
Nah. Drift King. Annam says, I like that it's almost like music the more you get into the game.
Exactly.
Yeah, I agree. It's truly a rhythm game because you feel like you are making the music. You're living the music, which I think is the goal of all of these rhythm games, especially the ones that don't emulate. Well, even the ones that emulate real instruments, like Guitar Hero, you want to feel like you are playing that music. But even with I'm struggling to remember some of them, but there were a whole slew of these types of games.
Parappa.
Oh wow! Well, if you want to call out the original, sure.
Yeah.
I think that's the OG right there. But I was thinking of more niche stuff. More recently, Beat Saber,
Yep.
and any game with the word beat in it is
Pretty much
has
yeah.
that ultimate goal.
Thumper.
Beat has
Kind of
it,
like
that
Beat.
was it.
You thump.
Yeah, Thump.
You thumps along.
Thump Hero. I remember in Thump Hero, I would get my plastic peripheral thumpers. If this game were a game where you had to buy the peripherals for playing it, what do you think the peripherals would look like?
A giant scarab that you had to hit.
Giant scarab that you just like hit and drifted.
Yep.
Like
You just
drifting.
held up in the right direction as it goes through. You just hold it in your hands. It's motion sensor.
Yeah, it's a little addition to your Wii nunchuck.
Yeah. That'd be cute. Can you 3D print me a gorgeous little metal scarab?
I'll 3D print you a gorgeous, not metal scarab,
Yeah.
and we can attach it to your Wii nunchuck, and we can play Thumper with it.
Yeah.
Or at least pretend. I'll play Thumper while you actually play Thumper with it.
I mean, scarab. The whole idea of what scarabs were in these funerary rites. Oh shit. Is every time I have a complex thought, I die.
Yeah, no,
Just like in real life.
For sure.
Okay.
Oh, no.
Anyway, so yeah, I'm just gonna pause it and say it real quick.
Yeah, I'd
The
love to hear it.
original must-have item of the 1500s was these little scarabs that you would buy people, and
Yeah.
it replaced.
Are they alive?
No. They're just little stone
dang,
things. They're made of a bunch of different rocks, like jade or steel or like all this stuff.
Sure,
And
all the
they're like,
cool
yeah,
rocks
semi-precious
around.
metals, that you could find in Egypt or import from Persia or all this stuff. Syria, maybe.
Sure.
So that was so popular. There was like hundreds of thousands of these things made, and you had to have them like for all different kinds of reasons. They were like little charms.
Jeez. Yeah.
They were the original charm bracelets. The
Yeah.
original collector's item, and they replaced. Well, I guess they weren't the original because they replaced these little clay tablets that were cylinder things that you would roll across different like clay or like wet
Oh yeah,
clay.
the first fidget spinners.
Kind of, yeah. And you just roll it across, and it would have these patterns that were carved into it, and it would make little pictures.
Oh, and you'd imprint it on the clay.
Yeah, you'd print it on the clay, and it would always make the same picture, but it would be forever. It would be infinite. You could just roll it
Yeah.
along, and people thought those were great, but they
Oh
got
man.
they kind of got subsumed in the marketing wars by these scarabs that were supposed to be like
Huh.
magic and charms and all this stuff.
I mean,
So-
when you make a dumb toy, it's kind of an easy move to just say, yeah, maybe
It's
it
magic.
may be kind of dumb, but it's magic.
Yeah, that's what Pet Rock was really missing out on.
Yeah, I mean, if somebody told me and convinced me that fidget spinners could, instruct me on how to fool death,
Oh yeah.
I might be a little more into fidget spinners.
And like guarantee your safety in travel and like make sure you don't get
Yeah.
sick and your cows don't die. That's
I'm pretty sure that's why a lot of people bought trinkets over the years.
oh yeah.
Is not only because they spun for a long time, but also because they guaranteed they wouldn't get dangerously injured.
And they look dope, why not?
Oh yeah,
You have 50 cents, why not?
yeah.
Hey, that's the real answer. It's just why not?
Like if you can ever give your customers that feeling of like, well, I mean, it's probably not true, but it might be, and why take the risk for 50
Yeah.
cents?
Do you
Then
know all about the
you're
gods?
good.
Are you that smart after farming your little millet forever? I know about the gods because I'm wearing this special hat. And let me tell you,
If you can introduce that humility,
scarabs, they love it. They're all about it.
they love it.
I didn't even ask this scarab to be a deity god. Like, he just did it on his own.
He just loves it.
That's how you know he's the good one. And I have my favorite right here, but I'll let him go for you for just, like 51 cents.
51 cents is not bad for your favorite scarab.
Whoa. Oh my god. This thing is horrible.
Oh.
Oh shit. I'm fucking
Oh
up
my gosh.
right good now. I don't know what that is.
It looks like you might need one of my patented scarabs.
Yep. My
Don't worry.
good scarab boys.
My scarab will keep you safe. Sorry. Scarabs are old hat now. Try this magical fidget spinner.
Ah, I see. That's where the real marketing is.
While
yeah,
it
that's-
stays spinning, it guarantees nobody can lie to you.
Holy Christ. That's really
This is
dangerous to think. No one
mad
can lie to
intense.
me.
Especially if you're imagining that and you tell other people that, then
Yep.
that is exploitable to a fault.
One only lies, the other only tells the truth.
Yikes, dude. Yeah, hit it. Yes. Well, it's interesting to
Fuck.
hear that
Ooh.
these fad iconography items were so common even in the past. I always attributed them to something modern, something.
Nope.
It
Pet
is-
Rock has
it
been
is
around
just-
forever.
Of
It's
course
eternal.
It has.
Of course, Pet Rock used to
The
be.
eternal need for cool items in your life that are just fun to hold and carry around. Except this one will whisper to the gods when you're dead.
Yeah.
Well, they'll whisper to you, and
I
then
mean-
you'll speak normally to the god, hopefully,
Yeah.
and you'll say, "No, I'm legit."
I mean,
know
some
all
of
your
them do
questions.
actually talk to the gods, though.
Oh, do they?
Yeah, that's just one of the ones they put in your ear. The one they put on your heart is the heart funerary scarab. He's supposed to bear, witness to the gods about what kind of person you were, what kind of heart you have.
Oh, so he's like a fun proxy. He's like, hey, I know this guy has answered a bunch of your questions, but I'd also like to put in my 2 cents.
Oh yeah.
He's all right.
Well, they ask him to
Look
make
at
sure
it.
you're not fucking up, to make sure you're not giving him a bunch of bull.
Sure, yeah. They have to make sure you're telling the truth. And who better to trust than a trusty scarab?
Exactly.
That's what I say. Oh my gosh, that was brutal.
This is rough. This is a very difficult boss. Level 2 boss is wrecking me right now.
It's not even the Omega level. Yikes. So the glowing notes, are they, some notes seem to be glowing more than others. What significance does that have?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
Like, they never explain
Some of
it.
the-
Literally, all the gameplay
Yeah.
that you've seen is the gameplay that I have. So,
Oh, that's excellent. So you just learn by
yeah,
playing.
they don't
Which is
explain
the best
anything.
sort of tutorial.
Just like the real Afterlife. They don't
Oh,
explain
no.
anything. Oh yeah, but what I meant is, like, the reason I thought about this idea of this being a funerary scarab is because the end of the last boss, you see that, you know, the track that you're running on is coming out of the mouth of that skull. It's coming out of the mouth of these figures.
Yeah.
And that is, you know, at least to me, in my interpretation, representative of the interview process that the gods put the scarabs through.
Sure, it is speech.
Yeah,
Like
coming out of the
traditionally,
mouth. Yep,
Things that come out of the mouth are words.
exactly.
And if this track is viewed as the thing that is coming out of these creatures' mouths, then it is their
Yeah.
their
Well, I think it's the
speech, their
pathway,
rhetoric.
the pathway of death. You know, the pathway to the underworld goes through the mouth of the gods.
And here this scarab is navigating it for you.
Yep, and he has to
because
do it
is
well.
an expert.
He has to
Yep.
do it correctly, exactly,
job.
precisely, right? That's what the definition of the interview process is precise and specifically, or oh, I messed up. I died every time.
Jeez. Did you reach a checkpoint after the boss?
I hope so.
Oh,
I do not
boy.
want to do that again. Yeah, but I thought it was a very interesting conceptualization of what that could be.
Yeah, I mean, it is meaningful that they chose a scarab for your player in this game.
Exactly.
It is not a
Person.
classical pick.
Yeah, it's not a human, surely.
Yeah, there are far more in the box things to pick, and I think a scarab is
Pretty indicative.
yeah, since they have chosen this character, they must have, you know, even if they chose it without the intention of this iconography, they would be hard pressed to not look into it additionally over the course of the game.
Exactly.
Maybe integrate some of that history into their performance of it as a whole.
And also, it's like, you know,
Nice job.
interpretive analysis is the idea of, you know, interpreting the art. Even if the artist didn't intend for this to be, you know, literally a funerary scarab negotiating the interview process for a soul, it fits the mold in a way that's significant.
That's always something I wondered when I was, you know, in middle school, like navigating all these classes. I was like, if I were to write something that other people considered significant, but I didn't intend those significant, you know, pieces,
It's
is
classic.
that significance still valuable?
It's classic death of the author, you know, theory, which was created, I think, in the 60s or 50s to help with movie interpretation, but also just like analysis as a concept. Lindsay Ellis has a big YouTube watching video about it.
Yeah.
I didn't take a bunch of film theory classes. I just sat in on some of my friends'
Sure.
at UCSB who were film theory majors. They talked about Death of the Author all the time. I'm sure our other friend, streamer Marcus Confident on Twitch, if you want to check him out, he has an English degree
Plug that.
and talks about that all the time. Or sorry,
Excellent.
doesn't talk about it all the time, but I'm sure he
Sure.
would know exactly
Yeah.
what. Ooh, this is cool.
Hilix Hale knocks it on the chat, saying seems like the Dark Souls of rhythm games.
Yeah, dude, it
which
is for sure.
Maybe a direct jab. I'm very excited for your Dark Souls content.
Oh yeah, thank you. It's
Yeah.
coming. It's on its way.
I know you're gonna get it right, and that takes time and study.
Yeah, boy.
Yeah, and if there's one thing I know about you is you do the homework for things.
Thank you. I try.
Yeah.
Homework never ends, so you have to pick a time when the cake is done in the oven.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of what this video really is for me, is testing out the cake to see if there's enough here.
You were talking about this earlier, and you were going through the research that you did on this iconography and this the religious and cultural significances of the choices in this game.
Triangles again showing up here. Triangles with tentacles.
I would be interested to see if triangles show up in some sort of methodology, if they are intentional.
Oh yeah. So the other thing about triangles is with Hermeticism, or the theory of masculine and feminine overlapping that's seen in the Star of David. That iconography is actually a lot older and shows up all throughout the Middle Eastern region, not only attributed to Judaism, although Judaism has adopted it as its symbol because it was incredibly popular. I think in the 600 or 400 AD period, it got really popular amongst Judaic texts as something to put over your door to denote that you were Jewish. But other groups have used that symbol a lot. So the pyramid, or rather the upright pyramid, the upright triangle, what we consider commonly presented as an isosceles or equilateral triangle, is representative of the male energy, which is, for example, irregular warfare's symbol right now. My symbol is an example of this. It's the delta. It is useful a lot in military theory for different troop compositions, most famously used in one particular scene in 300. I think Thucydides has mention of like special pointed spear point formations, and this goes back to one of the first stoneworking.
Not the
what?
Not the movie.
Oh yeah, no, I mean also that, like the movie adaptation.
Sure.
I'm just using for something that normal people would be familiar with as an example of a delta formation in use. But this comes back to stoneworking, where you figured out, in the Stone Age, how to make arrowheads, how to make spear points, right? So one of the first ideas that humans ever got, design-wise, is triangles are sharp, triangles are useful, triangles kill things. So let's make some triangles.
I suppose there's a reason that most arrowheads are not square-shaped.
Exactly. I mean, some of them are, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
okay.
It's very specialized arrowheads. Arrowheads come in many different designs. Usually they're purpose-built for specific purposes. When we watched that movie, The War of the Arrows, there were some flat,
beautiful
square arrowheads.
So, I would like to take a quick note here and say how impressed I am that you are both playing this incredibly difficult Twitch.
Oh yeah, thanks, man.
Like, very, very technically focused game, and also explaining iconography significance, because that is something I could not do.
Iconographic significance is like all over this game, but that's what I think my skill set is. Like, if this is a good example of my skill set, in the sense that I really like being in that flow state where you're doing something really complicated physically and doing something really complicated mentally by exploring, all the areas of your mind that you've accumulated up to this point. Oh shit. Except sometimes you die. Yeah. But that happens in real life too, so sometimes you die. What are you gonna do?
Well, thank you for compromising your ability to thump and thumper by explaining to me why it's in your wheelhouse.
Yeah, man. But yeah, so that's one of the things that was famously made, like, in the Da Vinci Code, where they had the triangles in the the sacred geometry triangles show up in Leonardo da Vinci's Last Supper.
So what is the origin of the term sacred geometry?
Well, it's I don't know when it first came into like use. I think it's like the idea or the wording of sacred geometry is, I mean, it shows up like in Gothic architecture a lot. It also shows up in Pythagoras, like ancient Greek stuff. As far as I'm concerned, like the original use of sacred geometry is in the Indus River Valley at like 8000 BC, where they took a round stone, made it perfectly round, which is not natural in the world. So clearly humans were doing this on purpose, and then cut 2 equilateral triangles into it. It's either, I think it's 1 or 2, but it's basically some ancient Indian person making the connection between triangle shapes and being inscribed within a circle. And then that leads to many geometric principles that reflect, the beginning of geometry, right? And when you look at it, it looks cool.
Like, yeah, I mean, it does.
Yeah, everyone loves it.
This entire game,
if you're a human, you love
cool,
sacred geometry because you look at that, you're like, wow, that looks pretty good.
Yeah. And they ascribed that aestheticism to religion.
Well,
is that
religion
where the sacred comes in?
So the way that you're using,
yeah,
when you're using religion in this context, we're using a modern interpretation of like what religion is, and specifically an American interpretation that involves a separation of church and state, or a separation of religion
I'm a victim
from
of my upbringing.
Well,
yes.
Yeah, we all are, but for them it's just the world, right? What they're concerned about isn't separating the world from everywhere else. They're trying to find out these principles about how the things around them are, and that's their religion. So the idea of sacred geometry, as we see it, is, with this understanding that there's a separation between math and religion, right? Math and the world. But we use math to describe the world, and in a way they were doing that too. They were just also unifying that with the other ways that they described the world, which was that gods are real and definitely exist.
All right, I think I see.
Yeah, so...
Oh, we've got a chat question. Hale Noxon says, what is your feelings of games designed like this, with the emphasis on player trial and error and minimalist tutorial guidance provided by the game itself?
I think it's great. I mean, we've all heard, or rather, we should all hear Aaron, Game Grumps Aaron, do his sequelitis on... I don't know what it's trying to make me do here. On Mega Man.
Yeah, it looks like...
And Mega Man's tutorial system is teach by doing. Oh, it's down. I don't know what down is. So yeah, his thing is, there's a modern trend of high tutorialization in video games.
We've seen it in so many games that are like, and here's where your person tells you, how to navigate the menus, and it seems very extra.
Oh yeah, it's also a lack of respect, right? It's a lack of respect for you as a thinking, living human being on this planet. Being alive takes... Oh, it's down... Whoa, down and A. Okay, so there's a new technique. The new technique is for breaking locks.
Oh,
It's
okay.
down and A. And now I have the lock back. I love it. I think that it breeds, creativity. The problem is every video game, by the restriction of its design as an art form, has one answer or a set limited number of answers that are programmed into the game to be, the answer for it. I think we're getting away from that, most notably in Breath of the Wild. Lining up metal swords to conduct electricity.
I think that games are more accurately emulating things like Dungeons and Dragons or other tabletop games where there is no set solution. It's all it's a loose system that can be generated by the players themselves, and I think Breath of the Wild more accurately emulates that because it has the ability to solve problems with multiple solutions, and yeah, it makes sense that what am I trying to say? It makes sense that this type of game, with the lack of a tutorial, would more encourage that because it allows players to come up with their form of a proper solution.
Yeah, I mean, I'm saying that, but right now I'm stuck on a thing where I don't understand what the game is trying to tell me, and
Sure.
there's clearly a lock in front of me.
Maybe you have to slam down. Yeah, maybe you're just missing that slam down point.
I think so, but that's the difference, right? So in a video game, you're never quite sure whether you're doing it wrong or whether the solution itself is wrong, right? So if you have an idea about what the right answer to a Zelda dungeon is, and it happens to be incorrect just because the creators didn't think about it, that doesn't necessarily mean that it couldn't work or it wouldn't work in real life, or maybe even that it wouldn't work in D&D, right? That's the most important part about D&D is you can explain to the DM why your solution, even though it's different than what he had in mind, could, would, and will still work, right? And to me, that's the most valuable aspect of what separates D&D. Okay, see, I got it that time, and I'm not sure why. So that's
a very small window.
The negotiation at the table, right? That's why humans need to be there instead of computers, because we haven't invented computers yet that you can explain something to make a case, to make a persuasive argument about no, I do it quietly in this and this way so that the big bad wouldn't notice me, right? The dragon doesn't wake up.
Awesome.
Yeah, and DMs complain about that all the time, but I think that it's one of the most important aspects of what humans can do for other humans as thinking, living beings that a machine can't yet or may not ever be able to.
It's true storytelling and art.
Yeah, and that aspect of negotiation.
It's one of the reasons that I don't enjoy procedurally generated games or that rely on that aspect quite as much.
Yep.
Which
aspect?
Touch, the human touch in storytelling and the ability to create problems with unique solutions that feel unique.
Yeah. Of course, this flies in the face of the first RPGs in the 90s and 80s, which had one very narrow solution of use key on door.
Yeah,
and if you didn't find it,
versions.
Oh yeah, they were this one special thing, and if you didn't find it, then you couldn't progress. And you had to, through trial and error, know what it was ahead of time. Me and Dixon played those games with our dad in the 90s a lot, and I remember it being incredibly frustrating to spend the time, which is a resource increasingly in short supply and demand, to navigate that space that was just someone's idea. It doesn't have to be more valid or justified than any idea that you have, and depending on the intelligence of the player and the intelligence of the creator, it could be even worse. something that just truly doesn't make sense, except through their own twisted logic. And as any good DM of D&D will attest, that's mean to do to your players, right?
Absolutely.
Like, just be like, my solution is the only solution because I thought of it, and anyone else can't have creativity in this space because I didn't think of it first.
And that's a difficult game to play in.
Oh yeah. Some would say you're not even really playing at that point. You're just going through the motions. That's not what play is. That's not what that word denotes when you're talking about it.
Yeah. Which is why I'd like to play more of your D&D campaign.
Thank you. The Shadow campaign works very hard to create those spaces because I genuinely do want to know how my friends would solve Vietnam. I genuinely want to discuss and find out about them, how smart they really are, and give them a space in which to express that in a way that reality does, but does at a slower pace than D&D can. Like, I can distill down those choices into a smaller time frame and make that meaningful.
It does occasionally intimidate me how I feel very, very pressured to be my best in your games, which is a good aspect of them. However, it always makes me very apprehensive to start playing them because I would like to. I fear that I am not as good as you expect me to be.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing is like, it's not about good or bad. It's about true expression. It's about truth. It's there's not efficacy about it. It's just the purity of your expression. And that's something that you can't, it's something you can get better at, but it's not measured in success or failure. It's measured in veracity. It's measured in...
I'm just afraid I can't handle the truth.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, that is the one thing that...
Somebody told me that once and it stuck me.
That is the one thing that I won't apologize for the Shadow campaign. Is you will... My job is to find out who you are and for you to find out who you are.
Yeah.
That is worth it. That is worth the pain. That is worth the... But it is scary, you're right. And there is something to be apprehensive about knowing yourself. But, if you listen to Sun Tzu, you have to know yourself. Knowing yourself and knowing your enemy.
Sun Tzu.
Yeah, you should.
We've got a question from the chat. What's the point of the shapes at the end of the line, like the triangle and circles?
I mean, I think they're just
through them. It appears like you get an extra piece of armor through some of them. Like there's a beat associated with them. Ooh, yikes.
Yeah, I mean, so iconography wise, the circles could represent, the hoop, the Native American ideal of the circle of life. There's a lot of iconography that just uses a flawless, perfect circle as ways of doing their thing. I think they're just the artist's rendition of checkpoints, like passing into another level or layer of
like
hell.
This one. I saved this one and I realize I'm 12 seconds behind the screen.
The circles of hell, are a thing. Dante's Inferno has that a lot.
Ooh, this looks intense. Yo.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
It's good stuff.
Hail Noxid also says that he dislikes the design of emphasis on trial and error of the player style of teaching personally.
Yeah.
I don't think that he takes it personally. I think that he dislikes it and is saying that he doesn't expect other people to dislike it necessarily, but he tries to avoid it.
Yeah, well, it can be seen as, skipping of one of your jobs as a game designer. right? Part of your game is to teach people about how to play your game, right? Because each game is different. And when you read Sequelitis's subject on Castlevania, they talk about that a lot because plenty of games were made in the 90s. In the example that Aaron uses, the game he uses is Jekyll and Hyde. Oh, wow, this is really complicated. Jekyll and Hyde doesn't do anything to explain or make clear what the game rules are to the players that are playing it. And a player is a customer. You know, a player is an art customer. If you have a confusing movie that doesn't do anything to explain its characterization or its story or its plotline, that could be seen as a bad movie. You know, same thing with books. So I think definitely a game has a responsibility at that point to do some work for you to make it clear what is expected. Sorry, the really difficult part coming up here.
Yeah, I'm watching this. I'm impressed that you were able to describe that as you did.
I keep missing that last beat. Okay, I don't have a good visual language to understand when is the beat to lock break and when isn't the beat to lock break.
Sure. I think it's anytime you're coming down onto a beat.
Yeah, but I guess I could hold the controller stick down all the time.
Huh. Wouldn't you
Yeah.
not be able to fly then?
Ooh, and
I'm suffering a bit from my... Oh, nice. I think I'm suffering a bit from the lack of knowledge about the of the controls.
Sure. Yeah. Down A is break the lock. Up A is get over the obstacle. Side A. There you go. Broke the lock. Yeah, I think they just want you to do down A's all the time.
Sure. Interesting. Okay.
Oh, except for that one, which was an up A. Oh, and it died.
Ah, jeez. It's so intense.
What level are you on?
I'm on the third level.
Oh, hey,
It's
Kubiak.
very-
Kubat has joined us. Kubat, one of my good
Has
friends from
joined.
high school.
I'd like to welcome Kubiak to the stream.
Exactly.
I have played a little bit of Thumper when I got to a spot where it was like level 5 is getting to me.
Yep. It's very difficult.
Yeah, that does seem awkward to time that down A.
Yeah, I think it's the down A all the
Wow.
time. They just
Got
want
it
a
down.
down A. Anytime you're at an A, they want a down A.
Can you accelerate or decelerate in any way?
No,
No.
pressing A gives you that power bar,
Sure.
but oh, holy Christ.
It also seems like if I were to be playing this, I would get injured once and fail because of it.
Yep.
Because the panic after getting that mishit is
It's a
very jarring.
yeah, it's a really psychological, difficult thing. This has turned into a survival run of this game.
Sure.
If you're fighting a this is a Cthulhu monster, man.
Oh yeah, I love it.
It's nothing but right.
Gotta eat these spiders right to the moon.
Right to the moon.
That's where Cthulhu is.
I have heard that.
Yeah, I guess we could talk about Cthulhu iconography. I mean, he's
It
Lovecraft.
started with Lovecraft,
Right?
right?
Yeah, well, Lovecraft was using mythos from what he considered exotic, primitive lands, which is super not politically correct anymore to say, as many things Lovecraft said. But he wanted to do artwork that in his estimation was primal, and that fit in very well with the late 1800s, early 1900s ideal of where their anthropology was at. Since then, since the 60s, that has become super not okay to say about other cultures. Partially because it's deeply racist.
Yeah.
One of the characters' cats, which is a black cat, is named the N-word.
Great.
Oh,
Awesome.
well, that's no fun.
Yep. Reflection
Yeah,
of the time periods that he lived in. One of the time
Yeah.
periods that was able to. He didn't have to do all that shit, but it was understandable for him.
Yeah, it's a product of. Oh man, I think you keep hitting them too early.
Yeah. I'm trying to. Oh, come on.
This is where the fatigue just starts to get into it. It's like, oh god. It just, every time I'm missing like one thing.
Yep. There we go. Got a hit. Finally.
Nice. There we go.
Oh. Oh, I died.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Cool.
Dixon, that design is seen as lazy of not telling you. Not explaining anything about your game as you're playing the game. No tutorials.
Hey, got it that time. Oh, I didn't see that jump though.
Wow.
Have you tried using the D-pad?
Oh, I suppose. Oh,
Only real gamers use the D-pad.
yeah, I don't. I mean,
I'm with you.
yeah, I think that the stick is the
whenever-
superior.
I started with the N64, and that was, I suppose, a pretty early introduction into the realm of consoles of the control stick. And the N64 was notorious for letting you choose, like, make a conscious choice. If you held the controller one way, you're a D-pad boy. If you held it in another way, you used this fancy new control stick. It gave you the option for both, but it was a very binary decision. And as a kid, I was always a control stick boy, and
Oh yeah.
I think that shaped my control preference over the years. And I see so many people older than I am using the D-pad to great effect, and sometimes I feel I should really give it a shot, because a lot of games do support it.
Yeah.
They allow the use of this alternative control method. I also think it's hurt by the folks who do the D-pad best have restricted its use. Nintendo holds a patent on
Really?
the good version of the D-pad, which is the 4 buttons connected by a single piece.
I did not realize that. That's interesting.
Yeah, that's why the Xbox D-pad was so bad, is they weren't allowed to use the good feeling one of the Game Boy and the NES. And they a lot of people really prefer that for obvious reasons. It is more responsive, it's more intuitive, and I think that patent may have run out or is running out soon, meaning that other people will be able to design controllers again with that not aesthetic, with that functionality in mind, which will be a huge relief, because we're already seeing throwbacks to old consoles. There's the Playdate, which I'm very excited about. It's this Game Boy lookalike that has you buy the console. It's this beautiful piece of hardware made by one of my favorite companies, Teenage Engineering. They make just absolutely beautiful hardware with so much. They have so much personality behind their physical objects, and they made this great. They made this fantastic Game Boy handheld, cool device, and if you buy it, it will download a new small bespoke game weekly that you are only playable on that device, and it's something I'm very excited about, because you'll get that complete immersion into an ecosystem, complete trust that you are playing this in the way that it was intended to be played. That I think they can do a lot of fun stuff with that.
Yeah, and also consoles, are less overall work than PC, and getting it to run on your thing, and do you have the right graphics card? It's the definition of like bespoke, like Blue Apron style, someone taking care of you, curatorship and culture that's really popular right now.
Yes.
Living your best life, so often involves using other people's expertise to shore up the holes in the connoisseurship that you don't have.
Yeah, I think this curatorship has such a place in modern life because people are short on time, and it takes time to understand what good art is, what good food is.
Let's take the time to thank our viewers for spending our time with us.
Yes.
Part of their day.
Thank you.
But
I appreciate our audience so much.
It's the modern crisis.
Ring that like switch.
Follower button, whatever.
All
the bells.
Follow all the people you like.
Like all the people you follow.
Tip your waitress. And
try the veal.
And oh yeah, it's good veal. I'm excited for a developer to have the space to create something where they completely understand the environment in which it will be played.
Yeah.
I think that will be very exciting. And I also expect it will be wildly exclusive, which I find very intimidating.
Yeah, that's the thing about these small communities, is you do have to be able to be in the market and afford them. Yep. That's the whole idea. It's very, it's the definition of hipster culture. Like when I worked at a small local organic only grocery store, and the product that we were selling was our curatorship, the fact that we know a huge amount about this subject, and we're going to do a lot of pre-work for the customer so that the customer doesn't have to, so they can focus on something else, which the world is getting complex enough, and I'd say always has been, to make that a viable product to sell. It's the whole point of luxury items, and in this way it's kind of a luxury product console as service model.
Yes, and I am concerned about the service aspect of it. I know that I'm very against the gaming as a service concept that seems to be so prevalent these days.
Yep. I mean, we're playing a game that's the opposite of gaming as service, gaming as product.
It is a product you buy, and after that you are just able to enjoy the game, and you are not pressured in any way to...
That being said, they released an update last week that was continuing updates to make this game better, more optimized, and able to run on more people's rigs, because they were getting feedback, thanks to the internet, about that.
Yeah.
So, this game came out years ago.
It is valuable to understand that these things do need work. Like they are people who who are making these, and they need to eat, and their families need to eat,
Yeah.
which is the most annoying part about life.
But that's
is
the
that
thing.
you always need something.
At the heart of that, you eat when your work is good, right? So the thing
Yeah,
I'm worried
that's
about the
true.
console is, right, I signed up for this subscription service, basically, for my game,
Sure.
and that's great if it's good.
Yeah,
If it's not, what a waste of time, right?
sure.
Like, that's a waste of money, and you're locked in. So you don't know if the games are going to be good.
It's true, and I do have a certain amount of, I don't know, it's not the
Apprehension.
most blind trust. I do have apprehension towards it because there is that danger of it not being a worthwhile purchase, and I live in constant fear of buyer's remorse. And I get
Will is the
some-
person with the most warranties that anyone I've ever met in my entire life, including my dad.
I keep track of my warranties religiously, and I keep several notebooks on the concepts
And Google Docs.
everything that I will need. Yes, I pay close attention to my warranties and use them more than the company would like me to because it's inconvenient for them. However,
Who else used to
this-
work retail?
This project has, I understand the difficulties with dealing with customers like myself, and I try to work within those polite bounds. I am excited though. It's made by people who I trust.
That's
both
the key,
hardware and
isn't it?
software.
Trust.
And I think that a trust in my curator is necessary for me to have this experience, and
Well, that's what
I think
society
the
is built
price
on.
is right for me to have that trust. Every man has his
Society-
price.
Yeah, and society is built on that trust, right? And when we trust, without that, we couldn't do anything in the world. Humans would be very, very severely reduced as an organism if we had not developed the system of trust. Of course,
It's necessary to thrive because we can't do everything. We need to hire mercenaries, like people to make our food, or people to make our chairs, as the two classic examples.
As it
people to educate us, people to
Yeah,
make art
people
for
to
us.
fight for us.
Yep, literally,
In
literal
the,
mercenaries.
Yeah, in the actual mercenary sense.
And lawyers.
Yes.
Not everyone can
lawyers,
know
a
every
lot of
law.
mercenary. It's delegating skills is a part of modern life and non-modern life, as I'm sure you will attest to.
Oh yeah, it's the original human development. I mean, I guess not. Mammals have it a lot. Any
Sure.
herd mammal, meerkats have it. People have different
Meerkats,
jobs.
the original mercenaries.
Yeah, I mean ants do too. It's not exclusively
Sure.
mammalian, I guess.
I suppose that's true. The concept of delegation as a necessity means that we will see it throughout history.
It's what works. Life has a way of finding what works and using it. That's the whole idea. I actually was
You seem to be doing very well at this, bringing it back to the game.
okay.
I'm just sitting here transfixed at these expertly navigated flashing colors, and I realize now that this does not look easy.
Oh, it's super super difficult. But I think that's the thing that people come to the stream for, isn't it, Will?
Absolutely.
They come to the
Yep.
stream to do something that,
Wait till the snakes.
oh, the snakes. Thank you. Thank you for that horrific foreshadowing. There's snakes, huh?
Oh yeah.
Great. I
I'm looking
thought
forward to snakes.
one of my interpretations of this was that the track was a snake, and I was going to do like an Ouroboros thing about the snake of the
Oh,
world.
Sure.
And like that's, one of the major ideas in pretty much like many
Well,
cultures
you're
have
not even
this.
into multi-track drifting yet.
Multi-track drifting, of course. Yeah, I mean, ancient Judaic traditions have the Leviathan. as well as like other world snake ideas.
One of the things, going back to Lovecraft,
Yeah.
one of the quote unquote gods he writes about is an actual Mesopotamian god.
Yeah.
Of like agriculture, but he makes it into this big evil sea Cthulhu, basically.
Sure.
And fish people.
Nice. Oh yeah.
There's a movie about it, and there's also just the book of Shadows over Innsmouth.
Yeah, giant snake, giant skull guy. So I did some research on, skulls throughout history. Death's head skulls. Whoa, this is...
What'd you find?
Geez. Lots of different interpretations. 1500s people use them for the rake class of hiring assassins or thugs or thieves. Wow, I died really fast there. And also prostitutes or sex culture. So lots of people in Victorian era England would wear a ring that was broad and silver, and on the back of it, it had the top head of a death skull. And you could flip that around and kind of show people you're down to fuck, basically.
Dang.
Yeah. So, just in case you see someone with a skull ring.
Sure. Is that what all skull rings mean?
Well, things mean what they mean to you.
I've seen the movie The Phantom.
I don't know if the term "things mean what they mean to you" is necessarily as accurate as I'm sure a lot of people would think.
Well, I know, but each individual time it occurs, it's true in the time that it occurs, right? So things mean what they mean to you when you wear them, and things mean what they mean to the person viewing it when that person viewing it is interpreting it. So if there's an understanding between those two people that I'm wearing this skull ring because I'm a prostitute, and they're oh, you're wearing that skull ring because you're a prostitute, then the communication is successful. If it's unsuccessful, and you're I'm wearing this skull ring because I'm a prostitute, and you're this person is really into anatomy.
Skulls.
Oh wow, I see you have the orbits there, and you're look, are you gonna pay me for sex or not?
Sure. It's I guess that's the fundamental nature of all communication.
Are you gonna pay me for sex or not?
Yes, absolutely what I meant. I'm glad that you caught my drift. And caught this drift in this game, because you're doing a lot of drifting.
Oh yeah. Oh, the drifting.
Boom!
Love it. Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Fast, don't they?
It's really, really difficult.
It is neat how the notes and the pieces come in from the side. It's very clear when they're on the track because they shoot in from the space around you. Occasionally.
Yeah, it's
It is difficult to see various portions of it when it's coming at you so quickly, though, which is why I always had trouble with rhythm games and stuff like Guitar Hero.
I feel
but
like
not DJ Hero. I was very good at DJ Hero.
It's similar to playing an instrument, almost.
Yeah.
You had to hit, but they're just very difficult songs that you had to hit the right beat at the very right time, sort of thing.
I think that's the allure that all these games bring. It's that feeling of expertise of playing an instrument.
Mm-hmm.
Or in this case, a scarab.
Yep. Oh man, I'm dying so much on this. Woof. This is pretty rough.
You can blame it on my poor my
Try
poor
remembering when things.
distraction techniques, if you'd like.
Huh.
I know how difficult it is to do things on stream, especially when people are talking at you. Ooh, that looks good. I think it's an interesting choice that they made all of these tentacles symmetrical to their mirror. They certainly could have made a much more chaotic appearance.
Oh yeah.
Nice. Or at least it was nice 12 seconds ago, because that's where I'm watching.
Oh. Oh wow.
That
I wonder how
didn't
many
sound
lives
good.
is it infinite lives? I guess I'm already dead. If I'm a funerary scarab. I'm just stuck doing this until I get it.
Keep doing it, yeah. That's part of the game. This is my first sticking point, and then when I returned to the game, I had a better understanding.
Absolutely. Right now I'm just missing those up ones that are just real quick jump ups, and I don't know if I want to go for him because it's so complicated. Yeah, there you go.
I'm not sure how you navigate the quick sequential walls like that. That looks like the most difficult part to me. The quick left-right. Seems like a lot of button presses in a very small amount of
Ooh.
time.
Yep. I just died on that.
Oh,
Yeah, those
Ooh.
exact ones.
Yep.
this is the next part of the song. It's not letting you finish it until you figure it out.
Ah, man. Yeah, I like rhythm games because it reminds me of dance, like dance class and stuff. Where it's a lot about, doing the right steps, but also doing them in the right way. That's what makes you a good dancer. Flair.
You really yeet those moves into existence.
Yeah.
Okay, you caught me. I just wanted to say yeet again.
Yep. I mean, it's good. It's always worth it.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, jeez.
You know what's coming up.
Well, I'm still looking around for great scarabs to attach to a Wii remote for you. There's all sorts of models online, some from Halo, some from Assassin's Creed. It's a commonly used icon in the gaming industry.
Yeah.
Here's a Raspberry Pi case with a cool scarab. Maybe that's what
So,
we'll use.
Mason, on this one, try to go up and then fall down onto the last one.
Does that work?
Yeah.
Wait, when you come down off of a thing?
Yeah.
Oh. Wait, so you land on it?
Yes.
Oh.
Try doing that.
Aren't these buttons to jump over, not to land on?
Yeah, but you can hold them
And stay here.
and stay in the air.
Also, hello, stream.
Hello. Yes.
Hey, we have Hail Moxid on here with us. Welcome to the stream. We've got a whole crowd today.
That's right. Multi-stream.
Just enough of us to bust some ghosts.
Could you say that again? I missed some of it.
Just enough to bust some ghosts.
Yep.
Oh.
Ghostbusters. Alright, so after this,
Busting
I do have to go to sleep.
go somewhere? Because I'll say this, Busted makes me feel good.
That is a good sign.
Exactly. Me too. I'm glad you said that.
You have to go up to get that hoop and then land on the last one.
Okay.
Oh.
Yeah, I got it. All right. Wow.
Whew.
Cool. 3 locks, huh?
Fantastic. Oh, 3. Yikes. It does give you all the opportunities right away. That's 2. Oh, it wants you to do all 3 in a row.
Yeah, got it. Ooh.
Yeah.
That was incredibly difficult. I got a C. I barely passed. Just like in real life.
That I only said that because I remember that part from the game.
Oh,
It took
absolutely.
me a while to figure out. Is like, oh, I'm missing it because of this.
Yeah, dude. Okay, well, stream. That is it for me. I have to go to bed. I have work in the morning. But
Fantastic.
thank you guys so much for all jumping in and contributing.
Yeah. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
I was glad to be here as well.
Yep. All right, guys.
All right, that'll wrap it up for us. See y'all later.